In the dead of night, some secrets refuse to stay buried. October 1943, Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. A place of steel and routine suddenly becomes the stage for a story that defies reason. Witnesses claim the USS Eldridge, a humble destroyer escort, vanished before their eyes. Some say it didn't just disappear, it teleported hundreds of miles, leaving its crew twisted, fused to metal, or lost to madness. The tale first surfaced years later through the cryptic letters and annotations of Carl M. Allen, a drifter whose warnings blurred the line between genius and delusion. Invisible ships, impossible physics, and whispers of Einstein's lost theories. Was this the work of science or something darker? Tonight, we step beyond the official records, past the denials, and into a story of power, fear, and forces that ordinary men were never meant to touch. A story waiting, still, to be discovered. The story of the Philadelphia experiment began not in a lab, nor on a ship, but in the hands of one man, Carl M. Allen, a drifter and merchant mariner, claimed to have witnessed an event so impossible, so horrifying, that it would blur the lines between science and nightmare. Known also as Carlos Allende, he was a figure both brilliant and unsettling, a man whose obsessions would ignite a legend that refuses to die. In 1955, Allen sent a cryptic package to the Office of Naval Research, enclosing a copy of Morris K. Jessup's book, The Case for the UFO. Scrawled with handwritten annotations in multiple shades of ink, the margins were alive with dialogue, mysterious figures debating theories of alien propulsion, secret knowledge, and the dangers of discovery. Among them, Allen hinted at what he had seen in Philadelphia: a ship disappearing, a crew suffering unthinkable fates, and forces beyond comprehension. Soon after, Allen wrote directly to Jessup, describing the Navy's attempts to manipulate reality itself. He spoke of a destroyer rendered invisible, teleported, and rematerialized, and of sailors trapped in steel, driven to madness, or vanished altogether. He offered no proof, only fragments of memory, and an invitation to believe in the impossible. Through those letters and annotations, the myth began to take shape. The world would come to know the USS Eldridge not as a ship, but as a vessel that may have danced along the edge of reality. Whether truth, delusion, or something in between, Allen's words became the spark, igniting a story of secrecy, terror, and forces man was never meant to command. In the summer of 1943, according to legend, the USS Eldridge was outfitted with equipment capable of bending the very fabric of reality. Researchers, drawing on fragments of Einstein's unified field theory, sought to render the ship invisible, not just to the naked eye, but to radar itself. The implications were staggering. If successful, man could manipulate light, space, and time, using electricity to make matter vanish. Witnesses claim the experiment began in the shadowed docks of the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. A greenish fog allegedly enveloped the Eldridge, and in that moment, the world around it seemed to unravel. Sailors reported nausea, disorientation, and terror as the ship flickered in and out of perception. Then, impossibly, the destroyer vanished entirely, only to reappear hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, before returning to its original berth in Philadelphia. But the consequences were far worse than simple invisibility. Accounts speak of men fused to steel bulkheads, minds shattered, and others who disappeared entirely, leaving no trace. Some were said to materialize inside out, their very bodies defying comprehension. The event, if it truly occurred, was not merely a scientific breakthrough. It was a nightmare wrought from ambition, curiosity, and forces humanity was never meant to wield. Multiple versions of the story exist, each more disturbing than the last. Some suggest the experiment was altered mid-course, reduced to radar invisibility to prevent further horrors. Others insist the true events remain classified, their reality buried beneath a veil of secrecy. What is certain, even if only in rumor and witness testimony, is that the Philadelphia experiment continues to haunt imaginations. A tale of science gone too far, and the uncharted darkness that lies just beyond our understanding. The story of the Philadelphia experiment might have ended as a strange rumor, but Carl M. Allen ensured it would not be forgotten. In 1955 and 1956, he sent a series of letters to Morris K. Jessup, each more cryptic than the last. Using his own name and the alias Carlos Allende, he wove a narrative that blurred the lines between reality and delusion. He spoke of ships disappearing, of men fused to steel, and of forces capable of bending time itself, but offered only tantalizing fragments, leaving Jessup and the world to wonder what was true and what was the fevered imagination of a lonely witness. Even more mysterious were Allen's annotations in Jessup's book, The Case for the UFO. In multiple shades of ink, a conversation between unseen commentators unfolded in the margins. One figure, Jemmy, argued with others about alien propulsion, secret knowledge, and the peril of discovery. Oblique references to the Philadelphia experiment peppered the text, hinting at truths too dangerous to be openly stated. The handwriting, the colors, the coded dialogue, it was a maze of cryptic warnings and obscure science, designed to unsettle, confuse, and intrigue. The letters and annotations eventually reached the Office of Naval Research, catching the attention of officers and contractors alike. Copies of the annotated book, known as the Varro edition, spread among researchers, ufologists, and conspiracy enthusiasts. Jessup himself, drawn into Allen's web of mystery, became obsessed, and his life ended in tragedy, leaving behind questions no one could definitively answer. Through these writings, the Philadelphia experiment transcended a single alleged event. It became a legend, a dark narrative of forbidden science, secrecy, and the terrifying possibility that forces beyond human understanding were at play, quietly shaping events just beyond the reach of comprehension. If the Philadelphia experiment truly occurred, its consequences were far more terrifying than mere invisibility. Witnesses claimed the USS Eldridge did not simply vanish. It tore at the boundaries of reality itself, dragging the minds and bodies of its crew into realms beyond comprehension. Some sailors were said to have been physically fused to steel bulkheads, trapped forever in cold metal, screaming in silence. Others went insane, their minds shattered by forces no human brain could endure. A few vanished entirely, leaving nothing behind but whispers and nightmares. Accounts describe a greenish fog enveloping the ship, flickering and writhing as if alive, as electrical arcs danced unnaturally along the hull. Men reportedly materialized in places they had never been, some inside out, their very flesh defying nature. And yet, despite these horrors, the Navy allegedly intervened, imposing strict secrecy and subjecting survivors to mysterious measures. Some suggest brainwashing to erase any memory of the event. Even observers aboard nearby ships, like the SS Andrew Fursev, claim to witness the Eldridge vanish, reappear hundreds of miles away, and then return. The phenomenon, if real, challenged every law of physics, every assumption of human understanding. Conflicting accounts, missing records, and impossible timelines only deepened the dread. Was this the result of untested science, a man's delusion, or something darker lurking at the edges of reality? The horrors attributed to the experiment linger in the imagination, a reminder that tampering with forces beyond comprehension carries a price the crew may have paid in full, and one that whispers still across decades from beyond the veil. Despite decades of retellings, the Philadelphia experiment remains a puzzle. Its threads tangled between fact, fiction, and obsession. Official records, ship logs, and naval personnel insist the USS Eldridge never left port in Philadelphia, and that no experiment of the described magnitude was ever conducted. The Office of Naval Research dismissed the claims as impossible, noting that in 1943, such technology, bending light or teleporting matter, was beyond human capability. Yet the legend endures, whispered in the margins of history, in letters, annotations, and the minds of those who wonder what might have been. Many researchers point to more mundane origins, degaussing experiments designed to make ships invisible to magnetic mines, routine military testing, or the movement of vessels via secret canals. Misunderstandings and embellishments could easily transform these events into stories of vanishing ships and tortured crews. Carl M. Allen's mental instability and his penchant for mischief may have further fueled the myth, scattering fragments of truth among layers of deception. And yet, the fascination persists. Books, films, and conspiracy theorists continue to give life to the tale. Exploring Einstein theories, electromagnetic anomalies, and the dark potential of science pushed too far. Even if the Philadelphia experiment never truly occurred, it serves as a shadowy mirror reflecting humanity's desire to tamper with the unknown and the fear of what might lie just beyond our comprehension. The legend lingers not because it is proven, but because it touches something deeper. The terror and allure of forces beyond our understanding. The question of what secrets governments keep. And the possibility that reality itself can be bent by ambition, curiosity, and madness. Some mysteries, it seems, are meant to haunt us forever. The Philadelphia experiment may have been legend, delusion, or something far stranger. Yet its shadow endures, stretching across decades of whispers, letters, and unanswered questions. Whether the USS Eldridge truly vanished, or whether it was a story born of obsession, the tale reminds us that some forces are not meant to be understood, and some knowledge too dangerous to see the light of day. Carl M. Allen's warnings, the annotated margins, and the vanished ship linger like echoes from a world just beyond comprehension. A world where science, ambition, and the unknown collide. The line between fact and myth blurs, leaving only fear, fascination, and the chilling thought of what else might lie hidden, deliberately buried, waiting to be uncovered. If you dare to explore the unexplained and uncover the secrets the world tries to forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Until then, don't forget to look beyond the fog.